Welcome, everyone. This is Pilot Niels, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at latest LOTRO and hear LOTRO players. And this week, I am joined by Cinders.
Hello.
Hello there, Cinders. Are you all ready to hear about the news that's coming up this week?
I am. It sounds like we don't have a ton. It's not a hurricane of news or a tidal wave. It's not a tsunami of news. That's what it's not. But it is
It's
some.
not. It's not a tsunami of news. Okay,
Yep.
let's see what we have instead. We have a storm surge. No. Okay, we'll say anyway. First off, we have a final bowler for update 43 came on this week. I do have the link in the show notes talking about all that's in there. But there weren't any changes that really jumped out in front of me. And since I'm going to be reading these release notes next week because we are expecting a update 43 to release next Wednesday, assuming nothing weird goes wrong during the final QA assessments and all of that. But they get the green light. Then on Wednesday, we will have update 43, the secrets of Utug Burr, and I'll be reading quite a number of release notes then. And this looks like it's going to be quite a mouthful, as
And I
usual
say
when that happens.
the only thing that jumped out at me at that is that Guardians are going to benefit from a 5% bonus damage when wielding a hammer. So I'm debating whether I need to get him a hammer. Um,
Yeah, why is this thing? What's this about hammers that they're giving them a 5% boost on hammers specifically?
I know that depending on the type of weapon that you're using, you can get different bonuses from it as a guardian.
Right?
And so my guess would be that they are making sure that hammers are actually worth getting.
Okay.
As I think the club gives you a slow, um, like a 20% chance to slow the person or whatever. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I think it's just
That.
changing and
Yeah.
buffing that out a little bit to make it more worthwhile.
Yeah, but most of the weapons have the same benefit for all classes. Like for example, the slow on the club. That's a standard on clubs, no matter what class
Yeah,
is wielding it.
I don't know.
So that's the reason why I'm wondering, well,
Maybe they're just
why?
making sure that Guardians can actually benefit from that because maybe it just wasn't working like it was supposed to for Guardians,
Well, I suppose that's a possibility.
especially if it's a standard one.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know what the standard
I know that like
item
Key,
is for that.
I know that Kiosaurus, on her Guardian Farrar, really liked wielding hammers because she would get a buff as a like there's a class specific or not class race
Racial.
specific benefit to wielding a hammer because Farrar is a dwarf. But
All right.
M just wields swords because while they are her size, uh, it does more damage than a dagger.
All right. Yeah, it looks like the standard buff that you get for, let's see, for hammer type seems to be you have a small chance of lowering your target's ability to evade.
Yeah.
That does seem to be a rather
Maybe they just
not.
really maybe they just really want guardians to take it up and use it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, we'll go through the entire list next week and see what all is new coming in there. But that is that
Yeah.
next week we'll have update 43. And if you want to see the preliminary release notes, we do have the ones from the Bull Roar in there. So there are going to be a few things in there. They're going to be in the release notes that are not in there. I don't think there was much mention of birding inside of the Bull Roar release notes, even though we do know that there are going to be some new areas for birding along with the release.
Yeah. Also Sam says, stop! Hammer time, and points out that wardens have 3 class specific weapon buffs. Um, so, yeah.
There are three class specific ones for wardens. Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't play a
I
warden
forgot
often
what.
enough.
Oh yeah, well my warden just always uses spears because well spear warden, you know.
Pokey
But it makes
poke
sense.
poke.
Pokey poke poke. Yeah, yeah, yes. Poke poke. All right. Now also when they have the games world comes up with update 43, it'll also be the start of the new legendary item season. So yes, the legendary item season will start with the update, and that means that it will start before we have the moves for the 64-bit worlds and all that stuff.
But it
Because right
should.
now, I think
Go ahead. And then I'll.
because it looks like they've pushed it about I think as late as they could in doing this, but they don't want to push it any later.
Which is fair. Um, I was just thinking that since the servers are going to stay open and kind of run side by side for a while, like maybe what you do is you start this new season, since it doesn't transfer with your character, on a character you're planning to leave just a little bit longer, so that then you transfer your other characters over and you've got it running on both.
Well, yeah, that is another possibility. Because I'm sure that there are some people who are going to have characters that they're going to keep on one server and put them on the other. I still haven't decided all that I'm going to do because all my main characters on Landfall, they're very definitely moving over with the kin, but for the other characters, I'm not exactly sure yet what I'm going to do with those.
Yeah. Um,
Whether I'm going to keep a few on Landrival.
that's fair. I've kind of been thinking that what I would do is see about kind of combining and condensing some of my characters. So, like, I've got an Emerlina on Gladden that I could bring and like transfer her stuff onto Emerlina on Landerval, and then transfer my Emerlina on Landerval over. Um, but I also was I wanted to talk with you guys actually to see where um, the academy is moving, which one of the servers. Because if, for example, the academy moves to whatever the secondary server is, the not role playing one, but the other one, then moving maybe some of my like moving my Arkenstone characters to that one, and moving my main Landerval characters to um, Peregrine or whatever. So,
Yeah. Well, right now, the preliminary decision relating to the academy is they're going to stay on Arkenstone until further notice.
which is fine. Um, it was just a thought to, kind of that way I'm not trying to condense 10 worlds onto one, and think maybe 5 worlds on one and 5 worlds on the other, kind of a thing. Um,
Mm.
but
Well, unfortunately, I missed half of what you said in the last minute because the the sound quality disappeared for a moment.
um, mostly I was saying it doesn't actually matter. I was just really thinking, like, if I have 10 servers full of characters, being able to
Right.
condense them,
Right.
and instead of putting them all on one server, putting, like 5 on one and 5 on the other. And Sam is pointing out that Mardi Gras is when those transfers begin. Oh yeah, it'll be a party.
Yeah.
Whoop
It'll be
whoop.
a party, all right. Yes. It'll be on Mardi Gras. So that means people will be spending Ash Wednesday. They'll be starting Lent with with new servers.
So maybe if you're in a tradition that gives up stuff for Lent, maybe stick with things that aren't gaming for giving up.
Oh no. See, they'll be giving up 32-bit servers for Lent.
That would work. I will not play on a 32-bit server until after Easter. Uh, I gave up chocolate one year. That was a ride. Bad idea. Don't give up chocolate either. Um,
Okay, that was. But in any case, the right on Mardi Gras, yes. So what the thing is that we will come up on there. The Long Island, the not the Long Island legendary item season will start on the with the update, and a week following that is going to be the infamous start of the movie where they're going to open up the new servers. What they're going to do is I have linked in the FAQ in here, except the FAQ has been updated. So now it includes all those dates that were left out when we read them out before. So I'm not going to read this entire thing because I read them already a couple weeks back, but we now have dates in here. So on Monday, March 3rd at noon server time, that's United States Eastern Time, VIP subscribers will be able to log into the game world to access the character creation screen on their destination world and secure up to 3 names per 64-bit world of their choice. VIPs will not be able to log into the game world to play or be able to transfer their existing characters, but they can create characters with their desired names and then later rename their transferred characters to the preferred name after deleting the placeholder character. Or if you had some other reason why you were doing it. Essentially is if there's a character name you want to reserve or for some reason that you wanted to forcefully change one of the names of your characters and just sort of have an existing character already on there. I mean, a placeholder character in there just to block it. That's another thing that you may do. But whatever it is the case, you could reserve up to 3 names on Monday. And by the way, you're not going to be able to send all 10 characters to the same server in any case because only because the 5 of the old servers will be European servers and 5 of them would be US servers.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, okay. But anyway, back to this. Okay, that's Monday is the VIPs create dummy characters in order to reserve some names. On Tuesday, on March 4th at noon Eastern, free transfers from 32-bit worlds to 64-bit worlds will be available to all players. The game worlds themselves will remain closed, but the transfer tool will be enabled to allow for transfers to those worlds. So this is when transfers begin and you can start to get your characters overall into the new worlds. And just remember, though, is that any character that you transfer over, you can't play until the new servers open. So you have to come up with an idea of what you're going to do about gaming for Tuesday night if you transfer every single one of your characters over to the new servers.
Some people might spend all of their Tuesday night just transferring. I'm thinking about
Well,
players
yes.
like Sans, or as Sam is pointing out, 3 names feels little when you have 61 filled character slots out of 66. So Sam might also be one of those people who's just spending all of his Tuesday night gaming time just transferring to be ready to play.
Yeah, that's always a possibility. So
Sam,
that's what's happening on Tuesday.
Sam, I don't understand your pain, but Sam Swinda would understand your pain.
Yes.
And then
Well,
multiply
anyway.
it times 2 because she has 2 accounts.
Okay. Anyway. But just remember, of course, it is Mardi Gras on Tuesday also on that day. So maybe you'll have some Mardi Gras stuff to do. Then on Wednesday at March 5th at 1 p.m. Eastern, you notice they're giving a time of 1 p.m., Our new game worlds are open. Free transfers from 32-bit to 64-bit worlds will continue through August 31st, 2025. Free transfers between the new 64-bit worlds will operate on a rotating weekly basis and continue through April 30th, 2025. So that'll be open up for 2 months on the 64 to 64-bit world ones, but 32 to 64-bit worlds, it'll be open up for about 6 months where we will be open in order to have transfers going from 32-bit worlds to the 64-bit worlds. And notice that it is 1 p.m. instead of noon. And the reason for that is, of course, because they don't know exactly when the servers are going to be open after maintenance, because that is, of course, Wednesday. So that'll be maintenance day. And there's always the possibility that if there was anything pressing that was found during the course of the first week of the update being up, that they may have to have a small patch in addition to it. So they didn't want to promise noon. I don't know if there's a possibility they'll open up early if everything goes smoothly, or if they're just going to open up the rest of the servers and then wait until 1 p.m. before they actually open up the new worlds. I guess we'll find that out on Wednesday. But the plan is to have them open by 1 p.m. on Wednesday, March 5th. And once that's up, we now have 64-bit worlds where you could do your gaming. And let's hope that everything will go smoothly and that we're not going to have everybody rush into the same server and crash it right away.
All right.
Yeah. Then on Wednesday, March the 12th, that's 1 week after the server is opening up, we will begin offering free transfers from many previously closed game worlds to these new 64-bit worlds. You can see the table at the bottom. There is a table on the dates for these. After this final transfer period, these previously closed worlds will be permanently closed and no further character transfers would be possible. So this would be the start of the last chance to get those characters off those worlds. Now, probably with many people, they either have transferred all their characters off already, or they transferred off the characters that they care enough about. But I'm sure there's some people out there who have some characters that are stuck there because they weren't around during the last transfer period and all that. And now they want to get their characters off and finally onto the new worlds. So then they talk about all the stuff that we read last time about what you need to know about it, how to do transfers and all the like. Then at the very bottom of here, they have the dates in which they will have things open up for the transfers. Here we are. When will the Dark Worlds be open for transfers? Transfers from the first Dark World is currently scheduled for March 12th, 2025. These will be open in a cadence of 2 servers every other day until all Dark Worlds are open. The opening order is as follows. On March 12th, Dwaradelf and Anduin. On March 14th, Elendilmir and Eldar. For March 17th, Firefoot and Estelle. For March 19th, Imladris and Gilrain. On March 21st, Belendor and Maiar. For March 24th, Nimrodel and Morthon. For March 26th, Rittermark and Snowborn. March 28th, Silverlode and Vanyar. And March 31st, Vilya and Withywindle. And then finally, on April 2nd, Winfola. Now, here they say that transfers will continue on these Dark Worlds through August 31st, 2025, after which point the worlds will be permanently closed. That's so it looks like the wording was slightly different. Did I just read it before?
I don't know.
You see, we will begin offering free transfers from previously closed rules on the new 64-bit rules. See our table FAQ below for the order after this final transfer period. Okay, the final transfer period in question then is at the end of August, I guess, is what they meant for this. Okay, and
Well, it might be
okay, it was the April
specific
30th thing.
to the
Oh,
Dark Worlds.
yeah. What did you say then?
Um, so down at the very end, I think the August 31st date for permanent
Yeah.
closure is just for the Dark Worlds.
Yeah, that's for the Dark Worlds. Yeah, that's just the
Yeah.
Dark Worlds that are closing. Yeah. Yes, the current worlds. The current worlds will stay up after August 31st,
Yeah.
though that is when they're going to start evaluating servers, and if there are any that are particularly underpopulated, shall we say. I mean, if
Yeah.
there turns out that there are only 5 people on a particular world, they're going to highly encourage people to move off and close that world most likely because it's not worth it to keep open a world for 5 people. But if
Yeah.
it's a real busy world with a large sustainable population on it, then yes, they will keep the world open for as long as there is a sustainable population on there.
Yep.
And that is all we know so far on the opening of the new servers. But there is one more little tidbit in here, and that is that they have activated a change in the premium houses so that now if you sell, or I should, yeah, I think sell is the word. If you sell a premium house, you will get back 100% RITs. So therefore, however many RITs you paid for in the first place, that is how many you'll be get because traditionally it's I think something like 90% that you get back instead when you do it normally. But because they're asking people to transfer, obviously they're going to be wanting people not to be saying, I can't transfer because I'm going to lose money from the housing because they're pretty much encouraging people to move. So since they're encouraging people to move, they're going to be temporarily giving 100% RITs when you sell a house on there.
Yep.
And that is it for the game news, though we do have an upcoming event, and that is that we will have a buried treasure event from February 27th through March 3rd. That is in case, I guess, if you don't care about what's in the new update, then I guess you go hunting for buried treasure instead.
Or you do both if you have enough time in your day.
Well, yes, I guess that's always another possibility.
And some
Now,
people do buried treasure just for specific items, and then once they get those, they're done. So,
yeah, I guess that's also true.
because
So let's go.
Isn't that the one where you
Oh,
can get the thing where you toss the gold in the air and you walk around under it in a shower of gold coins?
yeah, something like that. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Then let's head into our store sales. And no, we do not have housing carry-alls on sale this week. I guess we maybe next week we'll see because perhaps they needed to have an update before putting those on sale. So
Well, they should definitely go on sale before they start offering transfers because I think there would be lots of people who would buy them to help transfer items, make it a
yes,
little more seamless. Um,
yeah. Well,
so,
next week will be the last opportunity.
yep. Um, but do you want me to read the store sales?
Yeah, store. Yeah, read them.
You can go ever on and get 15% off of select XP boosts, enhanced XP supplies, 100% mark acquisition boosts through February 27th. And the weekly coupon is a free plus 20% mount speed for 6 hours with the coupon code Let's Ride, LETSRIDE, also through February 27th.
Whee! Apparently, coupon codes can't get apostrophes, so
Right.
so skip those. So let's head into our week in gaming. What were you up to?
So I was not up to a lot. Um, so I'm I've been trying to get housework done and caught up now that the seasons for sports are over and I'm not doing after school stuff. I apologize for the dogs barking in the background. I might have given them pig's ears. Anyhow, so I was using the very small window of time when I get up in the morning at 4:45 and make my coffee, and I sit down with my cup of coffee before I have to go get cleaned up and ready for work. I get about 30 minutes of time to play in the mornings, and so I was playing Cascadia, and I finally beat the stupid Hawks in scenario 7. Um, I got the 90 points and the 20 points from the Hawks, and I was like, phew, this is done. It'll be a piece of cake. And then I started on scenario 8, and I'm like, oh man, this sucks. So I will be just as excited when I finally beat scenario 8. But scenario 7 is done. It is in the books. And having listened to me complain about the stupid birds, Pineleaf is very excited for me as well. I was like posting to him and Krister, like, I did it at like 5 in the morning. And so that started my day off on a really high note, but that is all of the gaming that I did. The rest of the time, when I got home from at the end of the day, I was doing housework and stuff, and so I wasn't doing fun
Housework.
stuff. So, how was your week, Pine Leaf?
All right. I'll be I'll begin with my warden who joined Friday Night Fights where we ran Hothvalendil. And that's one where we seem to always have trouble the first attempt we do with that boss, and it takes us a couple times in order to get through it. And the last time we say, well, why was it so difficult? Anyway, but on this particular one, I was in red line during the first 2 attempts, and I felt like that the boss had a red line towards burning me to death. So I switched over to blue line for the 3rd attempt and pretty much concentrated on trying to break its ability to do to interrupt it as much as possible. So I tried interrupting boss as much as possible. Maybe that kept the boss from being as much of a problem as they are, because right now that boss was a real pain. But we did get through it in the end and finish that. So afterwards we ran Doom of Karaskalebrin with 6, and that went well enough. And my lore master went through the paths of the dead and has reached Gondor. So starting volume 4. So that's, I'm sure it's going to take a nice long time on getting all the way through Gondor. And then finally, my mariner finished up collecting the Rangers, who is now just starting volume 3. And that's it for my week in LOTRO. If you would like to send us an email with a comment or a question, you can send it to podcast@lotraplayers.com. The Players Alliance has 2 shows on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have LOTRO Players News, and we record DDO Players News when Drac is available. You can short our shows at lotraplayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight. And this is Pilot Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.